Let's talk about welfare and rights, shall we? When I first saw this action, I thought, oh, that's interesting. You know, new welfarists, Animal Rising, having a go at traditional welfarists or old welfarists, the RSPCA, about cruelty on their farms. And I was thinking, okay, so nothing to do with animal rights, nothing to do with veganism, therefore nothing to do with me. But then you see the people who are sharing this stuff and praising this stuff, and you're thinking these are vegan activists, and you wonder why then, what's going on there? And it makes you realize, underlines to me how far we've come to become the vegan welfare movement or the welfare vegan movement. And even though people like Leslie Cross said we're not welfare, we're liberation, we're on the side of the liberators, we are now in a welfare movement, and we've got vegan welfarism because we talk about cruelty as they did in this action. It's a welfare paradigm word, RSPCA. It's cruelty. They don't talk about rights. They don't talk about rights violations. It's all about cruelty. But you see, that's the problem. That's also the case with all the vegan influencers. They talk about cruelty or they talk about abuse. These are RSPCA welfare words. And so I think it's no surprise, and it's been no surprise for a good few years, why people coming into the movement think that veganism is something to do with animal welfare, which it isn't. Veganism is rejection of animal welfare. If you look at the pioneers, they talked about animal exploitation, animal use, animal emancipation, these kind of things. Now, cruelty was there. The word was there. It wasn't ruled out. It's just that it wasn't a dominant word like it is now. So there's been a shift in the movement. We've really gone into animal welfare big style. And even this thing about being an animal lover has come back into the movement, which, from my point of view, is a bit weird. So, okay, so you've got a new welfare group having a go at an old welfare group. Well, that's fine. And that's as far as it should go from a vegan point of view. It's nothing to do with us. You could think of it in terms of the confusion it might take or create, because people are going to think Animal Rising is a vegan group, which they're not. They might think that Animal Rising is an animal rights group, which they're not. They never talk about these things. Okay, so they talk about other things, peripheral things from an animal rights point of view. So there's really no need for vegans to support this. In fact, that's the other problem, because what about all the energy here? All the energy expended on these spats and these arguments and debates, vegans taking on the RSPCA and all that, this is all in the welfare paradigm. So this is why journalists are completely confused. So when vegans go on to the TV, they get asked animal welfare questions, because journalists think that we're a welfare group, because we look like a welfare group, we talk like a welfare group. And so something's gone rather amiss. Apart from the fact that the overarching problem is that the movement calls itself animal rights, but really it's an animal welfare movement. And that's always been the problem. That animal rights is actually not very popular within the animal rights movement and never has been. And that's the kind of tragedy of it. I'm a rights-based advocate, and it's always been a struggle to talk about animal rights within the animal rights movement, because most people in the animal rights movement don't go for animal rights. They are essentially welfarists or new welfarists. So this is an interesting action, really, because it highlights the eternal problem, the ongoing problem within the vegan movement, which is that really we've slid into a welfare movement and we've stopped being a revolutionary rights-based liberation movement. We've stopped that, and we're now just in the mix with everybody else. Animal Aid and Viva, RSPCA, Compassionate World Farming, we all bang on about cruelty because we're in a welfare movement, and animal rights has kind of gone out the window, which is really sad.